Hello and welcome to Fly Nubian Queen TV. I'm Stephanie Rivers. Come on in, kings and queens. Have something very important I want to discuss with you. It won't take long, but whenever I come before you, I try to leave you with something that gives you a lot to think about. Again, I'm Stephanie Rivers, and you're watching the Fly Nubian Queen TV. If you haven't already done so, text to 31996 so you can start to receive notifications as we post new videos for your consumption. And as the video goes on, I know you're gonna like what you hear. Even if you don't, it's good for you if it ain't even good to you. So go ahead and hit that thumbs up button as we get started. Come on in and have a seat. I want to talk to you about something today. If you haven't already heard, Andrew Gillum is headed to a rehab center for exactly what we're not sure, but he didn't say exactly for what. And if you don't know who Andrew Gillum is, he's the former mayor of Tallahassee, Florida. He ran for governor of Florida in 2018, and he was only 34,000 votes short of winning the governorship in Florida. So that means he has a lot of political clout in Florida. Maybe even that's enough political clout to run against Senator Marco Rubio and be the senator of Florida. Maybe that's enough clout to be somebody's vice presidential running mate one day. You never know. Gillum could be considered as a political threat to a lot of people. And he and his wife have 3 or 4 kids. I think they have 3 kids. They look like the picture of a happy family. Or let me just be more specific. Andrew Gillum looks like the picture of a strong heterosexual Black man who is smart and politically savvy and is the leader in his community and in his family. That's what he looks like to a lot of people. But last Friday morning, Andrew Gillum, the former mayor of Tallahassee and former gubernatorial candidate in Florida, he was found in a hotel room in Miami with 2 other men. One of those men was, they called the police because according to the Miami Herald newspaper, one of those men was suffering from a heart attack. The other man was a gay male escort, and they found some bags of crystal meth on the floor, and Andrew Gillum was in the room. Now, they said that Gillum was not arrested for anything, but that he was very drunk. And so they let him go. And he said later on, Gillum made a statement and said he was in Miami for a wedding. But when they talked to the other guy, the guy who overdosed, they think he overdosed, according to the reports, on the crystal meth. When they talked to him about what was going on in the room, because he apparently is going to be okay, they took him to the hospital. Apparently, he said he knew nothing about a wedding. So the stories are not congruent as to what exactly was going on in the room. And Gillum didn't say how he ended up in the room. He did say he was in town for a wedding. He did admit that he drank too much. He admits that he is an alcoholic. He apologized to his family and his supporters, and he said that he's headed to a rehab center. And quite frankly, it's not our business to know the details about what's going on with Andrew Gillum, except to say that he did admit his wrongdoing. He is taking responsibility for it by going to rehab. The main thing is that he's working on it. So if it's none of our business, some of you might be saying, well, why, Steffanie, are you even on here talking about it today? I don't know Andrew Gillum personally, but I do know a setup when I see one. Now, that's not to say Andrew Gillum is not guilty of anything, because, again, he already admitted that he has an issue with alcohol, and that he is going to a rehab center for that. But for a man with the political clout that apparently Gillum has, that kind of flaw is a setup. I'm not saying that Gillum is not guilty. Here's what I am saying. Some white people don't want a black man to have more influence than they do, especially a heterosexual black man married with a family with political clout, to be enough political clout to be the governor of Florida, or even the senator of Florida, or maybe even somebody's vice presidential running mate. Well, some white people don't like that. They give you just enough rope to hang yourself, because let's face it, they can't hang you themselves, but they can give you enough rope to hang yourself, and that's called political suicide. See, we as humans, we all have flaws. You might, you might smoke too much. I might eat too much. He might drink too much. She might do this. So we all have things that we need to be working on. But when your enemies find out what those flaws are, they use those flaws against you and to their advantage. I have a few friends who used to be pro athletes, and I know I try to surround myself with people who I can learn from, and I have people in the business community. And here's what I learned about situations like what Gillum finds himself in. So let's take a pro athlete, for example. So, to be great at what you do, to be marketable enough to play pro sports and get offered $1 million contract for years on end, you have to start practicing on that from knee high. You go to Pop Warner, you go to the all the leagues in your community. You go to high school, you're playing ball all the time, you're doing sports, whatever is your thing, you do that constantly. And along the way, people see that you have the potential to be great at that, and that they know if you're great at that, somebody's going to pay you money to be great at that. So those are called, they start wanting to be your friend. They start wanting to be your girlfriend. They start wanting to be your manager, your agent. All these people see the potential for not necessarily millions of dollars for you, but they see what they can get from it as well. So you develop this entourage of people around you who tell you yes or give you whatever you want. They don't necessarily tell you the truth about what's going on. They don't necessarily tell you no. In fact, they might even lie to you and tell you everything is great when everything is not great. They put you in a position where, so if they need to tell you that's not good for you, you shouldn't do that, or that person in your life doesn't have your best interest at heart, they don't tell you the truth. They cater to your needs. They tell you whatever you need to hear so that you will keep them around so they can continue to get fed off of the plate that you're making. So what happens is you go through school, you go through college, and now you're in a position where you're trying out for a pro sports team. And these people, although they see that you are great at what you do, some white people don't like that you're getting paid millions of dollars and that people are at your beck and call, or that you have the influence. They don't like to see that. So even though they got to pay you the millions of dollars that is due you to get you to throw, catch, run, make baskets, touchdowns, to do all that, so they in turn can get paid and sell tickets and live a lifestyle that they want. What they also do is they study you. Now, if you have somebody in your family who is a pro athlete or a former pro athlete, let me know if you think I'm right or wrong. Leave me a comment and let me say, tell me, yes, you've experienced this, or you might be a former or current pro athlete yourself. Let me know if you've experienced this. And if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. Fly Nubian Queen TV, hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to receive notifications, it's 31996. text 31996, and you too can get notifications when we go live. So back to the story. So essentially, in all the while they're patting you on the back and writing that check, stroking that check, they really don't want to stroke that check to a black man that has more influence or and is getting all this money, because they think of you one way in private, in their private mind and with their friends, but they treat you another way in public. And so they're studying you. So when you might have that contract, but let's say you find yourself, you developed a habit. You developed a habit of drugs, maybe, because people who could have stopped you from that when earlier in life didn't tell you no. They told you yes. You developed maybe a drug habit, or you might develop a drinking habit or gambling habit, or you know what, you like uh uh prostitutes. You might like prostitutes, whether it's a woman or whether you're a gay man and you don't want nobody to know, you're on the down low. So you go behind closed doors and do stuff like that. But you have people providing you these services in your private time. What happens is, according to the friends who know about this sort of thing, who might have gone through it themselves and have told me this, what happens is the owners or your agent or what have you, they secretly go find you a drug dealer. That drug dealer provides you with all the drugs that you need. So while you're getting paid your salary, your $1 million salary, you paying some of it to the drug man or to the prostitute or to the whoever it is that's providing you with these services. You're essentially giving the money right back to the people who gave it to you, because they setting it up all the time anyway. You think you're doing it in hiding, but you're really not, because they already know. They already done peeped your trick bag. And so what they do is you end up giving the money back. So while you over here tricking off somewhere, supposed to be having that money to build generational wealth for you and your family and your community, what you're doing is you're really giving it right back to the man who didn't want to give it to you in the first place, but he found a way to get it back from you on the low. So that's what could be happening, and what happens a lot, I'm told. So whatever your vice is, they find out what is your uh kryptonite. What is it about you that you can't control? What is your flaw? And then they provide you with that flaw. So team owners have to pay you millions of dollars to get you on the team and get you winning, throwing, scoring touchdowns, scoring baskets, but they really don't like you. Now, here's a good example. I'm gonna give you two. One is Donald Sterling. Remember, Donald Sterling was the former what was the name of that team? Somebody, I think it was the Clippers, Los Angeles Clippers. He owned the Los Angeles Clippers, but he was recorded on audio telling saying racist remarks, telling his girlfriend not to be seen in public with a black man. I think he was talking about Magic Johnson at the time. And so essentially, again, they are okay with being in a position where they're superior to you and they own the team that you're on and they pay you a little money. But when it comes to treating you equally and him having his girlfriend be in the same picture with you or hugging you or whatever, they don't like that. So essentially he got caught, Donald Sterling, saying some racist stuff, and they made him sell his team because publicly it didn't look good for them to be okay with what he said. So he had to sell his team. And now we all know Colin Kaepernick's issue. It was okay for him to play for the 49ers, go to the Super Bowl, throw touchdowns, run, jump, do all this stuff. And his influence was okay on the field. But the minute that he took a knee in support of black men not being shot down in against police brutality essentially. When he was for that, when his influence went beyond the football field, some people didn't like that. The owners didn't like that. So what did they do? Now all of a sudden, he was good enough a year ago to, run, jump, throw, do all this stuff on the field. But now he's not even good enough to get a tryout. He's not good enough to get a contract to play for your team. That tells you, that's an example of how some white people don't want your black man to succeed. They don't want them to have the political influence or the community influence. They don't like that. And so essentially they have blackballed Colin because of that. But that's why those are just two examples that, that say to me that when it comes down to it, people might treat you one way because they have to, because times have changed progressively to where they can't just out and out call you names and not pay you. But when it comes down to it, if they can find a flaw, if they can catch you in a compromised position, then they will. So I don't know who Andrew Gillum might have pissed off, or maybe sometimes you don't have to piss off anybody. Maybe it's just that you are being your best self. You're living your best life. And people want to see you broke down and trodden and begging and asking for a job. And they don't like when you hold your head up and you got, your back is straight and you walking with pride. Some people don't like that. So they find whatever your kryptonite is and they use it against you. So in this instance, I guess Andrew Gillum's kryptonite is that he developed a drinking habit. And so, that's all we know at this point. But whatever, he got caught in the optics of three grown ass men in a hotel room in Miami in the middle of the night. That just don't look right, especially when you're supposed to be heterosexual with a wife and three kids at the house. That's just not somewhere you want to be. So, they found the drugs and they're trying to get everybody's story straight. But in the meantime, Gillum has said he has admitted that he is an alcoholic and he's going to rehab. So that's why, Black people, it's important to stay on code, have a moral code of conduct. Conduct yourself with dignity and respect, because otherwise, you compromise yourself and your goals and your future. Stop posting everything you do on social media. Everything about you is not for public consumption. Everything about you is not everybody else's business. Everybody shouldn't know everything about your life. Life is not about eating and drinking and being entertained all the time. Now, I know everybody likes to, let your hair down. Everybody likes to have fun and laugh and all of that sometimes. But it seems to me, and I'm sure if you ask around, ask your cousins and other folk, does it seem to you, and ask yourself, does it seem to you that everybody, most people are always trying to want to have fun all the time? Nobody wants to be serious. Nobody wants to take responsibility. And then when you do, and I know, if you're looking at certain people for leadership, it's like you might be following your leader, but you obviously, if they're not taking responsibility, if they're always blaming somebody else when they should say, you know what, that was on my watch and it's my fault. If people can't stand up and say they apologize and take responsibility, you're looking at the wrong person as a leader. Sometimes you got to lead yourself out of a situation before it's too late. So if you are a person in a position of authority and leadership where people pay you millions of dollars, or you are started a business, or you're a community leader, people are looking at you and looking to you for leadership. And here's what I've learned a long time ago. Even if you're not somebody who has millions of dollars or you don't have a lot of influence, people still are looking at you and you don't even know it. I've had people tell me years or months later, you know what? I noticed that you did this and I saw how you handled it. And I want to thank you for doing it that way. So sometimes it's not just about having money or clout. It's really just about being a responsible person when you think nobody's looking, because somebody is always looking. I know in my position, I meet a lot of people from various cultures and races and countries. And sometimes when they meet me in the setting when I'm at work, based on how they approach me, I can tell that they expect me to behave a stereotypical kind of way. They're looking for me to do something that tells them, oh yeah, that's that black, she a black girl, black chick, this what they do. And I'm like, you know what? You don't know me. I'm not your stereotype. I think a lot of us, we put ourselves, a lot of black people, we put ourselves, we think we're helping ourselves when we become the accepted stereotype to our white friends, to our white coworkers, to people who were not from our community. We think, oh, they like me. But the question is, why do they like you? Why do they feel so comfortable around you? And most importantly, why do you feel so comfortable around them doing all kind of stuff, drinking and dancing and smoking and hoeing and tricking and doing all of this? Those people, there's just some stuff you will never know about me because you are not in my one or two folk or my five or six close friends who know me like that. You're just never gonna be that person. And some things I don't even say in front of them people. I don't even let out my mind. And you might say, you know what, you're in prison, or you trying to impress people. It's just a code of conduct that I don't let everybody know everything about me. And I don't post a whole bunch of pictures on social media. I look at a lot of pictures. A lot of people ask me if I'm on what's the name of it? Instagram. Are you on there? And I don't really like take a lot of pictures that I need to be on Instagram. And I guess Instagram is more than just taking pictures, although that's what it says to me. Instagram, take pictures, post them. I'm just not that type of person who's always got a camera in my face and needs other people to see it. You see, we're looking for outside acceptance, and I'm just not that person. So I'm on some social media platforms because of what I do. I think I have a lot of important information to share, like what I'm sharing with you right now. And so that's why I am on some social media platforms. But a lot of them is just about play and posting photos and showing people what you got and what you wearing and your hairstyle and this, that, and the other, and where I'm going and all of that. That ain't none of your business. If you need to know, then you probably already know. So sure, sometimes we want to have fun and we want to do things, but too many of us are letting things go or posting too much information, and it ain't cute. In fact, it's going to be your downfall. So learn to be discerning, have discernment. Don't commit political suicide. Don't commit community suicide. Don't let your actions be the downfall of you. Think of the consequences of your behavior. If you can't live with the consequences, if somebody finds out what you're about to do and it could like ruin your career, your parents and your family would be ruined, or they would be ashamed of you, or you would be embarrassed, or you might even go to jail for it. Chances are you shouldn't be doing it. So don't do it. Just a thought, not a sermon. Stay on code, Black people. Stay on code. So again, if you liked this video, hit the thumbs up button and be sure to share it as well. Hit the notification button, and we will see you next time on Fly Nubian Queen TV.